This story is fake. This is what Haley Potter, my original character, would post on TikTok as a Reddit story. AITA for making my boyfriend forget about me after my brother died? I genuinely don't know if I did the right thing anymore. For context, this happened during a war. People were dying constantly, everyone was paranoid, and the people closest to me were targets whether they knew it or not. My brother died, or at least I was told he died alongside his wife. Their best friend was accused of betraying them and murdering a bunch of people. Another one of our friends disappeared into grief. Everything fell apart overnight. I found my boyfriend a few days later in this awful flat in London. He was completely broken. He kept staring at an old photo of us and crying, saying our friend had betrayed everyone and killed my brother. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't let him carry that pain while also being hunted. The people after us tortured information out of anyone they could. My boyfriend knew me too well. So did our friends. So I erased myself from their memories. Not entirely, just the parts connected to me. I used magic to make them forget who I was. I did it to my boyfriend first while he was crying over my brother. Then I did the same thing to my other friends. Every single time, they looked at me afterward like I was a stranger. One of them even smiled politely at me like we'd never met before. I told myself I was protecting them. If they didn't remember me, they couldn't be used against me, and they couldn't accidentally expose me to the wrong people. But now years have passed, and I keep wondering if I had the right to make that choice for them, especially him. He never got to decide whether he wanted to remember me or not. I took that away because I thought it was the kinder option. So, AITA? Update 1. I went back to my brother's house. I didn't think I would update this, but a lot of people asked if I ever actually processed my grief before making the decision to erase myself from everyone's lives. The answer is no. A few days after I made my boyfriend forget me, I went to my brother's house for the first time since he died. It was destroyed, completely hollowed out by dark magic. My brother's coat was still hanging by the door like he was about to come home. I made it upstairs to the nursery and found one of the toys he'd carved for his son. I think that was the moment I broke permanently. I kept apologizing out loud to people who weren't there anymore, apologizing for not seeing the betrayal sooner, apologizing for letting another friend walk away that night instead of stopping him. At one point, I thought I saw that friend standing outside in the garden watching the house. I ran to the window screaming his name. Nobody was there. I realized later I was hallucinating because my brain couldn't cope with the grief. People in the comments kept saying I acted coldly or logically when I erased everyone's memories. But honestly, I don't think I was thinking like a sane person anymore. I think I was trying to erase myself because I couldn't survive being me after what happened. And the worst part is, I succeeded. There genuinely isn't a place for me in anyone's life anymore. Update 2. I saw my boyfriend again after he forgot me. I found him months later. People online had been saying I should have trusted him enough to let him choose whether he remembered me, and I think seeing him again made me realize how badly I damaged him. He lives alone now in this awful isolated cottage that's basically rotting around him. He looks decades older than he actually is. The memory spell worked perfectly. He doesn't remember my name, my face, our relationship, none of it. But something inside him still knows something is missing. I watched him stare at empty spaces in rooms like he was expecting someone to be standing there. Sometimes he talks to the silence without realizing it. I think I deleted myself from his mind, but not from whatever part of a person keeps love. And before anyone asks why, I didn't just reverse it. Because by the time I realized what I'd done to him psychologically, too many dangerous people were still looking for anyone connected to me or my family. I kept telling myself staying gone was protecting him, but every time I secretly leave food, clothes, or medicine for him after he gets sick or injured, I feel more like a ghost haunting someone's life than a person. He found an old school photograph recently where I'd literally cut myself out of the frame years ago before erasing everyone. I watched him trace the missing part with his fingers while trying to figure out who had been standing there. He said, "There was someone else." I've heard a lot of painful things in my life, but I genuinely think that sentence might haunt me forever. Small update because people asked if he ever sensed it was me. Yes, not consciously, but yes. During the full moon, before his transformations, he sometimes reacts to me like part of him remembers I'm safe. One night, he was trapped inside his house during a transformation while I stayed outside because I couldn't risk him seeing me. The wolf could smell me through the door. Instead of attacking, it just kept whining and scratching at the wood trying to get closer to me. I don't know how to explain how awful it is watching someone love you with parts of themselves they can't consciously access anymore. I think some wounds survive memory loss,